I am now joined by guest at this time, Cody Jones. He's with me right now. What's going on, Cody?
Nothing much. How's it going?
I'm doing good, and thank you for joining me on Triple Threat Wrestling Radio this evening.
Oh man, thanks for having me.
All right, so let's go ahead and begin. How did your wrestling career got started?
Well, just started when roughly around when I was 13 years old. I was lucky and trained by my dad, Mr. Ebony Tom Jones. Not a lot of people get the opportunity, but when I was a kid, I'd go visit with him in Oklahoma, and every weekend he'd have training. So I'd go up there, and it started when as I can remember, maybe like 9 or 10. And then I'd mess around in the ring, and then slowly I started learning the fundamentals. And then 13, I started training. And then 15, had my first match. And then 12 years later, or almost 12 years later, here I am now.
With that said, I mean, you've been around for over a decade, and you obviously have done a lot. I mean, did you ever thought that your wrestling career would make it this far?
No. The real reason, I mean, it baffles me how much I've done, but how little I've done. There's always so much to do in wrestling, and there's so much that I would love to do in wrestling. But I am grateful for what I've done and what I've added to my resume, and what fundamentals I've picked up, what lessons I've learned, who I've wrestled. But I don't dwell on what I've done. I try to focus on what I'm going to do, focus on bigger and better things, and make my legacy bigger, and hopefully something better.
So let's go to your first match. Do you remember any things about it? Like, who was your opponent? What company did you work for at the time?
My first match?
Yes, sir.
My first match technically was when I was 15, but it happened in Oklahoma, so it was a free show. And in the state of Oklahoma at the time, you have to be 17 to get a license. But back then, at free shows, the boxing commission didn't do anything about it. But my real technical first match was when I was 17. It was in Oklahoma City. It was with Mid-South Wrestling Alliance. I think that's what they were called at the time. My dad had a big part to do with that company. And my first match was against Dexter Hardaway. I don't remember how the match went. I could tell you I had a ponytail, skinny, maybe 120, some cheesy looking orange pants, and some orange arm things. And I probably went out there and stunk the joint up, but I mean, I got it under my belt and went further after that.
What was it like, working alongside with your dad? I mean, it's not often that you have a family member, especially dads, and then how sons and daughters like to follow the footsteps. I mean, what's it like, being in the wrestling business alongside with your dad?
It was difficult. It wasn't like, oh, he's Tom's son, he's gonna do this. No, it was actually harder for me than most, I feel, because I had such big shoes to fill, and like, oh, he's Tom's son, he should know better, and it felt like to me that it was more difficult because I had such big shoes to fill.
So, how would you best describe your wrestling style? You look at yourself technically sound, a brawler, maybe a high flyer. What would best describe your wrestling style?
I'm very diverse in all styles. I can brawl, and I love physicality of wrestling. I love the technical aspect. I love the British style. I love the Japanese style, which is the strong style, and then the more technical style. I can high fly. I can do it all. I mean, I've trained a little in lucha, It's I feel like I can do it all.
So, do you have any like upcoming shows, upcoming matches you'd like to promote, Cody?
This Saturday, the 25th, I believe is the date. It's Colorado Springs ATW Southern Championship Wrestling. They present Breaking Point. It'll be on GFL.TV. I'm not sure when the date when maybe like a week or so after the show gets put on. And I'm wrestling their institutional champion for the title, Rob Ryzen, which we've had our history over the last months. So I'm looking to take his institutional title from him.
That's definitely will be interesting to see. Everybody go check that out. Support your local indie shows wherever you are, near you or maybe afar. You can promote them, show your support. Um, so, who do you consider as influences in your wrestling career, whether it's the indie scene or whether it's professionally? Who do you consider as influences?
I'm a big Shawn Michaels fan. Like to me, he's the greatest wrestler of all time. Not only wrestler, he's got entertainer. He's a performer. Um, him, Chris Jericho's another one. I was actually just talking about him not too long ago. But like, there's nothing those two do in the ring it's wrong in my eyes. And they've done so much. Both of them, they've came up the same path that I'm trying to take is the independent scene or the territories in Shawn Michaels' case, going to Mexico, going to Japan, and then finally making it to the big times in WWE, and then making a name for himself. He's an influence. They're both influences. On the indie scene, I would go like a lot of people in Dragon Gate, like Ricochet. Pac's another one, or what's his name, or Adrian Neville now in NXT. He's a very very big influence because he did the same thing, worked the Indies and then up in WWE. Those are a few influences, and of course my dad. Without my dad, there'd be no me. There'd be no Cody Jones.
Now, you live in the state of Texas, correct?
Yes.
And as you know, the state of Texas has built a lot of great wrestlers throughout the years. Like you pointed out, Shawn Michaels, Eddie Guerrero, the Funks, the Von Erichs, I mean, Steve Austin, the list goes on
Yep.
and on. I mean, they've become a staple of wrestlers being on the map. I mean, how do you feel about the success that all these Texan wrestlers have throughout the years?
I feel privileged to be from the state of Texas when it comes to the wrestling aspect. Because like you named, there's the Funks, the Von Erichs, the Freebirds, the Chris Adams, the Gino Hernandez, the list goes on and on. It's I hope one day when I'm I guess retired that people can look at me in that same same category, if not close to it, because those are real big shoes to fill. Like Stone Cold, he went on to be one of the greatest superstars of all time. Shawn Michaels too. It's it's stuff like that intrigues me because it gives me a challenge. It gives me something to be like, okay, well I can shoot to be the best, if not the best I can be, and hopefully the best in people's eyes when they see me wrestle.
Now, you have done so much and you've been around for a long time. Um, I know this is going to be difficult, but what do you consider not just the highlight per se, but highlights? Like it could be like matches that you have had, it could be championships you've won, maybe storyline angles that you were a part of. What do you consider as highlights of your career that makes you look back? You know what? That was great, man. That was some huge moments for me. What highlights in your career stands out to you?
Um, let's see. The first time I won the NWA Southwest Junior Heavyweight Championship, I think I'm a five-time champion. That the first time was was a special moment to me. And then when I won the NWA Southwest Tag Team Championship, that was a special moment as well. Just because of the name of the NWA, it just holds so much legacy and so much meaning that if they see you as the top of that class, then it means something. To fast forward a little bit, I had the match with Benjamin in March, one of the highlights of my career, and then say March 30th, I think was the show. Me and a local guy here named Austin Riley, we built up a storyline. Loser leaves Amarillo, or loser never wrestles again in any fed. It was a cage match. Packed the place. Like, I mean, it's a small venue. Most people, they had almost 300 people, standing room only. It just the feeling that, like, I can't describe. Just thinking about it, I can't describe. You guys, I wish you guys could understand and feel how I feel. But it was just one of those moments that I'm always gonna remember. As long as I live, I'll never forget that moment and that time when that match happened, ended, and just it was unbelievable.
What do you like the most of being a wrestler? Is it the traveling? Is it interacting with the fans? Is it talking with your colleagues? Is it anything that stands out to you? What do you like the most of being a wrestler?
I love all aspects of it. The physicality is obvious. It's going to be my favorite, I think, because it you're going. People go out there and go through the motions to do what they do. If you don't feel it, like the physicality, the raw emotion, if you don't believe what you're doing, then the fans don't. And if you get the fans to believe what you're doing, then it makes you feel good about what you're doing. The travel, I love the travel. You go into the road trips with whoever you're riding with, these stories. The fans, I love the fans. Just the outpour of fans. And then in my case with the advice, I like giving advice to the younger people that want to listen to it. I'm a 26-year-old guy. Most of these people are older than me, or if not, most of them don't take me seriously. But the people that do, I appreciate it. The people that really want to learn and really want to better themselves in wrestling, I appreciate that, because that's what wrestling needs, is people that actually care about wrestling, not people that, oh, I'm just doing it because it's a hobby. Wrestling is a lifestyle. Wrestling's not a hobby. Wrestling's my life. Wrestling's in my blood. And I appreciate sharing it with people that care about it.
Speaking of advice, which is it's a pretty good segue to my next question, what would your advice be to anyone that wants to become a wrestler, that wants to make this a job, a lifestyle of theirs? What would your advice be?
Be prepared for struggles. Be prepared for failure. Be prepared for injuries. Be prepared for sacrifices, because, and be prepared to almost not have not have emotion, to not, I don't know what I'm saying, but wrestling, because wrestling doesn't wait. Wrestling doesn't care if you have friends. Wrestling doesn't care if you have a family. Wrestling doesn't care if you have all these friends in the business. Because friends in wrestling are hard to find. Friends in general are hard to find, but real friends in wrestling are very hard to find. Be prepared to almost be screwed over by wrestling, but you have to be strong. You have to fight through it if you really want to do it. If you really want to do it, it'll happen. You'll push through it, because you're going to get knocked down. I've been knocked 12 years. I've been told no. I've been told, well, you need to work on this. I've been told, well, you know, you're not tall enough, or your tattoos aren't going to really, you know, stand out, or your tattoos they look like crap. Oh, sorry, they're on me. My tattoos tell a story. But things like that, when you overcome those obstacles, you become a better person. You become a better wrestler.
You know, it's pretty interesting when you know a lot of people like your size say, this, you know, you're not gonna be a main guy. You're not gonna be like the face of a company or so forth. But wrestling nowadays, it's not like the 1990s anymore when people rely on a 7 foot guy, or a 300 pound or a heavyweight. I mean, people are now relying on CM Punk and Daniel Bryan, you know, guys that may not be the tallest guys, but they certainly know how to put a match together, and people are satisfied. I mean, that's just what it all boils down to. But I guess regardless of the size, as long as a company believes you can pull through, then anything's possible. But it's like it's
Yeah, not only a company, you have to believe in yourself too. Because if you don't believe in yourself, if you don't believe what you're doing, then why would a company believe in you?
well said, man. Well said. So, for people that wants to get in touch with you or learn more from your up and coming shows, why don't you go ahead and promote your social network links, Facebook, Twitter, or any other links out there people should check out.
Well, my Facebook is facebook.com/Cody Jones. My Twitter is at Real Cody Jones. You can message me, comment. I'll tweet me. I'll reply. If I don't reply, I'm probably busy, but I will get to you. I love interacting with the fans, and if you have any questions, advice, feel free to ask. I'll do my best to give advice from life experiences and whatnot.
At this point of your career, what else you would like to accomplish? I mean, you're 26 year old, and I mean, usually, you know, you say you start at the age of 16. You're now 26, and 20s, being in your 20s, definitely a good thing, because you know, and you still here, you're still standing, and you know, you had your bumps in the road, but you're still here. But at this point, what are some other things you'd like to accomplish? Like, what are some goals you set for yourself?
The main goal would be to get to WWE, which be everybody's goal in wrestling. But I would love to go to Japan. I would, just because I love the sport that still is Japanese wrestling. I'm not saying it's not a sport here, but it's more looked at as a sport in Japan. And I'd love to go to Mexico because it's almost the same thing. I'd love to go to Europe, in Germany, and you know, all those places, just so that way I can better my craft and then take it into WWE if that's what wrestling takes me to. If I don't make it to WWE for any reason, if I get, you know, a career-ending injury, God forbid that happens, I want people to know that I'm passionate, and I want them to see my matches and like, this guy believes in what he does and puts on a good show, and hope that they go home entertained.
Well,
That's all I want as a wrestler.
Well, Cody, it was great talking to you. I want to thank you for being on the show, and I admire your passion and continued success, man. And hopefully, I'll see you on my TV screen, man. I mean, that would definitely be awesome. But thank you for being on the show. Yep. Best of success goes out to you.
Thank you for having me on the show. Thank you for supporting indie wrestling. Thank you for supporting wrestling in general. Because without people like you, without the fans, there would be no wrestling. There'd be no us. Thank you.
Hey, I speak for all fans and say thank you and the wrestlers for what y'all do for put your bodies on the line to entertain us on a weekly basis. We, the fans, we should be thanking you for what y'all do for a living. It's fun to watch.